Hello, everybody. I am Alicia Grace, and this is a radio show. If you're listening to tonight's episode recording on YouTube, so a few days after this live broadcast, thank you so much for tuning in. And to help us boot the algorithm, go ahead and comment on this recording. Let us know you're here. Uh, and if you are listening to the live broadcast of the episode, you actually have a chance tonight to not only hear some unreleased music, but also win 2 tickets to No Boys in the Booth, 6th anniversary party and Tiso's birthday party on April 14th at Union Rooftop. You'll have to join the Discord chat to enter. And what you can do is go to our Instagram bio or any of our recent posts on Facebook or our link tree. The options are endless. And you can find the link to join from there. We'll be hanging out in the chat, dropping links to different things we talk about, so you can go ahead and find it on your own time. Jenna will be taking care of that. I will be your host for this evening, and our guest is none other than founder of No Boys in the Booth, half of Sax Cells, Tiso.
Hello.
Yay, Tiso, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
This is going to be a really good episode. I already have a feeling about it. Of course, I think that before most episodes, but there's an extra good feeling tonight.
Well, that's good, because I'm extra, so that's
Extra C's extra.
Yes.
So for those of you who are not familiar, Tiso is a house DJ, and like I said, founder of No Boys in the Booth, which is a all-female identifying collective of DJs here in Minneapolis. They actually reached out to us a couple weeks ago asking if we wanted to collaborate, and the answer was a very quick and enthusiastic yes. We've kind of been coming into our own in some ways as Perfect Harmony in our team, but also really getting connected with other women-led movements in music. So it was very serendipitous that we heard from you and wanted to get this going. So let us start with a song. How's that sound, Tiso?
I love music, so yeah, music would be good.
Phew. All right, let's start with Swoosh. This is a track you sent over to us, a collaboration with 22 Weeks. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this song before we play it?
There's probably not too much to. It came out in 2020, I believe. It was probably the first song that Rafi and I made together. Rafi, also known as 22 Weeks, and it doesn't really have it's just a first track kind of thing. So it's a good way to start the interview.
All right, first song together, first song we're playing tonight. Let's go. Okay, that was Swoosh by Tiso and 22 Weeks. A perfect starter track for tonight. Well, yeah, let's dive into it. Tiso, tell me a little bit about yourself and why house music.
Oh, because house music is the best music? I have always loved to dance, and I come from a family that likes to entertain. Like my grandpa, he died when my mom was 16, so I never got to meet him, but he could just listen to a song and play it immediately on the piano, right? So I just come from good music and good people, and we like to have a good time, and we like to do karaoke as a family, and both sides of the family. My grandpa on my dad's side was a good singer, so I think I just have always gravitated to music because it makes me really happy, and I love to dance. I didn't really get exposed to underground or club or EDM music, whatever you want to call it, until I moved to the cities in Minneapolis. I moved to Minneapolis in 2004 and went to the University of Minnesota. I started playing rugby because I wanted to meet friends and people. And then I met some friends that liked to dance. And the next thing you know, I was going to got exposed to house music. I didn't even know the genres. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know Sandstorm was Sandstorm. It just was a song that was played during half times of basketball games, right? I was a small town kid. I grew up on country, classic rock, and whatever was top 40 at the time. It was like DJ Sammy made a huge impact in my life because it was super popular back in the day. And I was like, this is amazing. So once I got exposed to it, it just kind of took off from there. But it's all comes down to loving music and just loving to have a good time and dancing. So.
What small town?
Oh, it's called Heron Lake. It's, if you know Windham, Worthington, Southwest Minnesota. And I like to say I'm from Okabena. It's only 150 people. But I grew up on a farm. I'm a farm kid. And I grew up about a mile-ish out of Okabena.
Okay. So you moved to the cities in 2004 and have been here since?
Yes. So I finished college. I went to community college for a couple of years, played college basketball, took a little bit of a break, finished school at the University of Minnesota. And I guess that's where I've been ever since.
So when did you start gaining an interest in making your own music or performing?
I have always wanted to learn how to DJ. I think when you have an ear for music, and I'd be in the club and I'd listen to some of my favorite DJs. And I started hearing the track come in before anybody else, just the little subtleties, the bass or melody, whatever it was, the vocals. And I always used to play this game with myself that I was like, ooh, it's whatever, right? It's hey, hey. And then I would be like, did you hear it? Hey, hey's coming in, right? I'd I was a goofball listening. So it was kind of just recognizing that it was a skill that I had. Yes. And then I think that's probably one that I don't regret things in my life because I don't think it's healthy to dwell on the past. But one of the things I wish I would have done is learned how to DJ sooner and had a huge vinyl collection and been one of those people. But, those weren't the cards that I was dealt, and I'm very happy with my journey. But I was first introduced to a controller back in 2014, and then I started taking it seriously in 2016. So I'm still kind of I think people, when they meet me, they're like, you've been doing it forever, and I haven't. I'm still kind of feel like I'm on the newer side of things. I wish I could say I've been doing it for 20 years, but I haven't. Yeah,
it's never too late to start. And, it's funny that you say that, too, because that seems to be a theme that's been coming up with a lot of our guests. Is just you do it when you feel it. Do it when it hits you or when the opportunity comes. And, there really is no too late to start. Creativity just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, especially when it makes you happy. It doesn't matter. Yep. Right? It doesn't matter if it makes you happy.
So you have a couple projects. I do projects just as TISO. And then you also are part of a duo called Sax Cells. Which one of those two do you want to dive into first?
Well, TISO will be the common theme throughout all of this for obvious reasons. So I can touch on Sax Cells. Cora and I were friends. We met actually through rugby. And she was one of those people that just loved to dance. And we kind of just had instant friendship right away. And we were watching, I'll never forget this, we were at my house and we were watching EDC Vegas main stage. And we were just in awe, because we'd never seen Vegas before, the big festival. And I was like, Cora, wouldn't it be fun if I learned how to DJ and then you learned how to play sax, or not learned how to play saxophone, but you played sax in high school? I was like, then you could play sax with me. And we both yeah. And then that was it. But then when I started No Boys in the Booth and all of that started to happen, I was like, Cora, we should do it. What the heck? It's my birthday. It was back in 2017. And that's how it all started. And she was still playing on her high school sax, and she hadn't touched it for years. and we would both admit that we sucked that day. It's an art to putting a set together. It's also an art to put together a set where you have a live instrument. I think neither one of us really knew what songs to play, what even songs to, like gravitate to.
Mhm.
And we've had to, and the poor score is like, I still like sound like I'm in high school, so she was hard on herself in that way. But through the experiences we've had and both of us putting a lot of hard work and effort in, we've really kind of blossomed the last year and a half. And I've told people, I'm like, I love doing No Boys in the Booth events. I love DJing, but it is so much fun to like play with your best friend,
Oh,
because she kind of brings me down to earth a little bit. And as far as like, she reminds me that like, it's so much, we just have fun when we hang out. We just laugh and we pick silly songs sometimes. And, I was like, this is my favorite. Like, and then to have a favorite song and listen to it and then have Cora play live with it. And she's gotten so much better. She bought a brand new saxophone. Her name is Savannah.
Oh.
So we're actually like a trio.
Yeah, you're definitely a trio.
Yeah, it's like Cora, Tiso, and Savannah. And Savannah has a great story. Long story short, it might have been a stripper name, but we won't need to go into details. But
I mean, we could if you wanted to.
Just don't. It's fine. We won't say it. But yeah.
So what were some of those, if you recall, those first songs from that very first Sax Cell set, both hits and misses?
We only did like 2 songs together. And I could not tell you what they were. But it was tech house and there was no melody and it was horrible. We would never do that again. Ever, ever, ever. And I picked those songs because they kind of worked in my set and I liked them. And I thought, Cora, you can play with these, right? And at the time, she's like, sure. Also, no. We know that now. We talk about it all the time. We're like, but we've had a lot of fun. And we've now recently even expanded our catalog in a way because we used to just do like house music and EDM and that kind of stuff. And now we've expanded to other genres.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have played Odessa, we have played like Grizz. We have went beyond just like house music. We had a gig over the winter, and we actually played top 40 through the decades. So everything from Frank Sinatra to Stevie Wonder to Cher to Britney Spears. So like a lot of sing-along stuff. And Minnesota's a sing-along state. As much as we wish that we were the Woo Girls, man, you get a couple White Claws in them and they start singing with you and they love, and Cora's a magnet, she starts playing and whoa, play Britney. So we just kind of like expanded, I guess, our skill in a way. So, and it's been really fun. Like, it's been super fun. And I always said, like, I've always promised Cora that we would play, like, we call them slower songs, but I'm like, you mean melodic dubstep. It's not actually slower, but I get what you mean. And I've just been so resistant to it. But every once in a while, I was like, we've played Illenium. And I'm telling you, like, some of those songs, they hit. And then when Cora plays with them, it hits different. So you'll get a taste of that on my birthday. Because it's going to feel like I have ADHD when my set, because it's not going to be like a traditional like Tiso and Cora set. We're just like, it's my birthday, so I'm going to do whatever the heck I want.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of different genres, some of our favorite songs from different genres, stuff that we're like, if we're going to play this song, this is the time to do it.
Okay.
So that's something to look forward to. And I mean, we're talking like some classics through the years that everybody knows. So plus some of the genres that I spoke to. So
yeah, I'm here for it. I'm really excited. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the event real quick. So we can also further plug that we're giving away 2 tickets and you have to join the Discord chat. So the event is on April 14th at Union Rooftop. You do quite a few events there, correct? Or have you done events there before? It'll be my first time there, so that's why I'm speaking from so little experience.
It will be, I have personally only done two, this will be my second on
Okay.
Union Rooftop, but Rev in the basement, same building, I've done several events
Okay,
there.
nice.
Shout out to Jack Trash and Sim Shows. He's the reason that I do events there. I do admire him. I've worked with him over the years. I've asked him stupid questions over the years, and he always is very helpful and never thinks the questions are stupid because he's a teacher, so he's not allowed to think that, right? But yeah, Union Rooftop I just owe a lot to Jack, so I wanted to make sure that I gave him a shout out because he helps me with bookings there. But Union Rooftop, what's interesting about my birthday is I've kind of always been the person that like, I have friends from all walks of life, so I try to throw myself a birthday party, but I could care less that it's my birthday. It's more about bringing a bunch of people together that I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah.
And I have done that for years, way before I was a DJ, or in the, anything, promoter, whatever. And like we've had the one amazing birthday it was 80 degrees and there was 30 of us sitting at the Twins game at Target Field. So that kind of was amazing. And then I've also had 17 inches of snow, sloppy mess, where I had an event and I had to cancel it. It was kind of like the snow we had last week, only imagine it 3 times worse.
Oh, man.
So it turns out
April
April 14th is a really moody date. It's got, you never know what you're going to get. So we'll see. Hopefully the house music gods will be shining down on us and give us some sunshine, because it would be really awesome if the rooftop was open, because you know how Minnesotans are. If it's any kind of nice, they're going to want to go, and I'm going to be like, it's perfect time for you to come down and hang out.
Minnesotans love nice weather and singing along to
Yes,
songs.
exactly. The other cool thing is it starts at 10:30 because it transitioned from like a place that's serving dinner, a restaurant, into like a club kind of thing. So it takes a little time to do that. But from 10:30 to 12, maybe a little bit before 12, I'm calling it open decks, but I don't think that's the right term for it, because I want as many female DJs involved as possible. And I debated over whether to 6th anniversary, do I bring in a headliner? Or do I, if I do that, who am I going to pick out of all of these friends and female DJs that I know that would love to play the 6th anniversary? It's impossible for me to pick just one. Well, then I was like, I'll give everybody 15 minutes. Okay, no, we're not going to do that. So it's first come, first serve. You get a chance to play a track. If there's a line of like 15 women, get in line, throw down a track, see what happens. I want as many women as involved as possible to celebrate us. It's a sisterhood, and that's really what it's about. It'll be interesting because I don't think there's ever been a back-to-back-to-back like that with all female DJs, so it'll be a first. But I'm inviting anyone out there to come and hang out and play a song. Okay. And then eventually I will take over, and eventually Cora will join me, and hopefully we'll have a good night and everybody will have a good time, and you'll bring friends, or maybe like bring 5 friends. That'd be great.
So let's dive into a little bit about what No Boys in the Booth is and how it got started. You've described it as a sisterhood. It's a collective. It's there to empower women, but how did this get started? How did this just become a reality for you? Yeah,
it's the reason I'm kind of like laughing a little bit is because it's been such a journey, and it's even been in a journey in how I describe it. And let me just say, like, I've like got a lot better at the messaging over the years. How it all started is my friend and mentor, Christina Sky, who's known as the Queen of LA Trance, and she's from Long Beach. She's a professional DJ. And I think anytime that you start a new skill, whether you're an athlete, whatever, it's very much a human element to find a role model or someone to like obviously model yourself after. And when I met Christina, she was the first female professional DJ I've ever met. And she was super down to earth, and she was helpful, and she was kind. And I was like, this is amazing. Well, went to Groove Cruise in January 2017, and Groove Cruise has changed my life in a lot of ways, but
I definitely want to dive into that at some point
yeah,
too.
super fun. And I saw Christina Sky and Sandra Collins. And Sandra Collins, a lot of people don't know who she is. She started DJing like maybe even the late 80s, but early 90s. She would be considered like one of the godmothers of the industry. Her mother taught her how to DJ, which is, you don't even hear of that very often. And those two ended up doing a random back-to-back on Groove Cruise. So for the first time in my life, I saw, instead of seeing a back-to-back bromance, which still happens to this day, right? As a young, and I don't mean young, but newer female DJ that was looking for like heroes, inspiration, people to model myself after. I was like, this is amazing. And I got off Groove Cruise and people would ask me, what was your favorite part? And I would describe that. It was amazing. It was like, everybody was like, I don't know who those women are. And I'm like, well, you should. And that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So, it just popped in my head. It happened to be that my birthday was Friday, April 14th. And I've always thrown birthdays, right? And I always tried to get people together. So I was like, maybe I should just recreate that event. And for my birthday. And I'll DJ, and both of those two can DJ, and we'll see what happens. So in 8.5 weeks, I went from never doing an event before, barely knowing how to DJ, let alone DJ in like a club setting. I didn't have a brand. But all of a sudden, No Boys in the Booth was born. Sex Sells was born because I asked Cora if she wanted to play with me. So I already touched on that, right? We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't even know, like, we were practicing and we're like, what are we going to call ourselves? And then, of course, I think she said something and I'm like, oh my God, Sex Sells. It's perfect. Bam. And then that was born. So all of these new things happened in a very, very short period of time. And then when I did the event, it went really well. It was super unique, and it's every once in a while you get a night where there's nothing else going on, or there's not very much going on. It's not like today where there's like 2 or 3 things going on every like night, like during the weekend, I should say. But back then it was a good night. We had over 300 people. Wow. It was super fun. Got a lot of positive feedback. There was people that were there like to be there because they were my friend and they wanted to support me. And then there was people, some old school like house heads that knew Sandra Collins from back in the day. And then there was the trans family that knew Christina Sky. So it was unique and special. I think I slept for a month when it got done. And through all of that, No Boys in the Booth popped in my head randomly. And I just thought it was like a cool name. But then all of a sudden it was branded, graffiti, like all of that, like what you're seeing on your like tank top right now.
Yep.
So, and people were in my head saying like, well, it was really amazing, it was going to be big. But as I've kind of progressed this a little bit, there were some challenges. And I don't know if you want to get into that now or if you want to keep talking about like the event or whatever, but you know, it's definitely been a journey.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask you a little bit about the name, and then let's play another song, and let's dive into the challenges and deeper stuff. How's that sound?
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
And I ask this because we are working on a rebrand and changing our name of our publication, and so. Anyway, this is not about us. So this is why I'm curious. Tell me about any pushback or like reactions you've gotten to the name alone. Do you receive any sort of feedback or challenges just in relation to the names? Let's soft enter this challenge convo.
Well, I guess before I answer that question, and maybe this could be a poll question on your Discord.
Okay.
It might be a good ticket giveaway, but can you name another brand or event series with no in the title?
Okay. No, I don't think
I think if you thought about it, if there's one really obvious one that has been drilled in our heads since we were really, really young, grade school.
Say no to drugs?
Yep. right? So anything with no in the title usually has to do with safety, like click it or ticket, right? Do this. There's always like, I always think of like Smokey the Bear, only you can start forest fires. So what I did in the middle of all the madness was I thought of something that potentially was both beautiful and brilliant, but hard and hateful at the same time. And not in a million years did that ever cross my mind until people started asking me questions. And people started like basically accusing me of, like, people were cruel to me. When they read it, they're like, you must hate men. And I have a winky face in my logo. Do you think I hate anything? So what I realized is like, how do you brand something and how do you support something and socialize something that is comes off as perceived as something that's completely opposite of your personality?
Yeah.
And people don't like being told they can't do something. And there's a lot of men out there that really don't like being told they can't do something.
No.
I also had this thing cross my mind. I'm like, oh my God, do people even know what a booth is? Like, it's a DJ booth, but I didn't say. I'm like, oh my God, is booth in the Urban Dictionary? Did I just like do some weird, like, sexual, like, what am I even saying? No boys in the booth. Oh my God.
It's like when you say a word too many times to yourself, you're like,
yeah,
is it actually a
like,
word?
Exactly. And I was like, and I've never looked it up on Urban Dictionary because booth most likely might mean something. Like, it might be another word for God knows what. Like, we don't need to go there. But like I said, my mom's going to listen to this, so I'm going to be on my best behavior. But yeah, there was just accusations of me being discriminatory. There was one guy that said it sounds like a bunch of blank sucking blank, and you can fill in the blank. It is a word that rhymes with bunt and starts with a C. And I was like, and I was really caught off guard because to me it was something that was like, here's the deal, here's the message. And this is something that I've evolved into. I am an activist. In the industry that I love and I care about. I am an activist for the minorities. And women are the minority.
Yeah.
What is wrong with having that? And for someone to come to me and say, you know, you hate men or whatever. So after I think it was about a year and a half or whatever, kind of dealing with that, because even my friends and my No Boys in the Booth crew, the people that have, you know, surrounded me since day one, they're like, it really is sometimes hard to explain to people. So I softened the brand. I took off the graffiti. I still have I have several different versions of the logo, but I stopped with the graffiti. I stopped with the symbols, and then I added the tagline: "All are welcome to dance," and that was a direct, like, change from the feedback that I was getting and the conversations that I had to have. Yeah, it's like, no, I don't hate men. Yeah, just, you know, I don't hate men.
You're more so just like calling out the discrepancy that we see that really doesn't get mentioned super often. But yeah, when people see someone going against the flow, they don't like that. And they're going to take the little thing they can to rip apart or criticize in whatever way makes them feel justified.
And you can be an activist for, like, Black Lives Matters or LGBT rights, or you can be even an activist for politicians, right? That's all okay. But for some reason, this negative statement, or it's perceived as negative, it's such a bad thing.
Yeah. So. I remember even at one point I had posted a picture in this shirt because there was, I think in 2017, I wore this No Boys in the Booth tank top like weekly. This was like my favorite shirt.
Well, it's a good thing I got you a new one.
Yes, yeah, no, I'm so excited.
It's super faded, so that's a compliment, though.
Yeah, and it's also like, I don't know, I have like maybe not first generation merch.
But it definitely is.
It is first generation? Yeah. Yes, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I have multi-generation merch.
You have the first generation logo.
Yes. Yes.
Vintage.
It is true, right?
So fetch.
Oh my God, people are gonna be looking for that in like
Yes,
thrift
they
stores like
are.
in 20 years.
But someone even tried to tell me when I posted a photo that this was transphobic.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, you need to chill, because if you would have taken the second to look up this collective and to find out what they're about, like, you would see that this includes anybody who identifies as a woman. It doesn't matter anything else. It's
Mhm.
just like how you identify. And it's like, and I don't know, I squashed that person pretty hard, but ever since then, I've always wondered kind of like what that was like in your because you experienced that kind of so much more. And I personally love seeing the All Are Welcome to Dance. That like really has it softens it for those who are too soft.
Yeah. Well, it's a reflection of me as well. The first generation logo is just, it's hard. It's made it really hard. So, I mean, we're on second generation. Who knows what the third generation will be?
I love it. Let's play this next track we have. We'll dive into more of kind of like the challenges behind, being a woman in the music industry and the importance of No Boys in the Booth. Jenna, let's play Does That Matter? This is another track by 22 Weeks and Tiso. Oh, and this is an unreleased track too.
Yes, it is. We just made it last week. So you will hear it again on my birthday, but this is the official debut. Super fun to make. I love Roth. So.
Okay, we are back, and before we dive into this conversation on No Boys in the Booth and Tiso's experience in the music industry, I wanted to share something, currently exclusive. We're going to let more people know later down the road, but a currently exclusive offer for our listeners. We are inviting anybody who makes a $5 or more donation to our webpage a shout out on next week's radio show. So all you have to do is go to our webpage, scroll down to where it has our PayPal button, donate $5 or more, put your name in there. We will reach out and you can give us a message to read on next week's show. So whether you want to wish somebody a happy birthday, promote a song you're releasing, just tell a silly joke, we really don't care. So with any donation of $5 or more, you can kind of be on the radio show, I guess. So we wanted to let y'all know about that. We'll be announcing that to the general public here over the next couple weeks, but we wanted to let our loyal listeners know first. Any donation you make before next Wednesday, we'll be reaching out to you to get your shout out, and we will read it during next week's show. Let us know in the Discord if you like this idea. We're really excited about it. We really need to be raising some money for new technology. So this would be an awesome opportunity for you to have your voice heard as well as help us grow. So now that announcement's done, while we were listening to that last track, Tiso was sharing with us a little bit more about feedback that they've gotten from the name No Boys in the Booth as the title of their women empowering collective. And you said you actually got advice from one of the women you were inspired by.
Yeah.
Wow.
Christina Sky. She's the one from Long Beach that did raves back in the day in Long Beach. So I can't imagine. She can tell some stories. Let's just put it that way. I asked her what she thought of it. And she said, well, it's not like female event series. All DJ lineup, female lineup is a first by any means. That's been going on as long as females have been DJing. The difference is you're a woman. So it's obviously women empowering women. And whether people want to admit it or not, or talk about it or not, it is different when women run things than when men run things. So me running the event right there is something different than your typical male promoter. And since we're the minority, she's typically dealing with male promoters. The other thing is they are stereotypically called, like, I'm just going to pick a silly name, but like Unicorn Night or Roses and Butterflies Night. And she's like, it never failed. It was always branded pink. So it had to, like, it was literally like your stereotypical feminine, like branded event series. And your logo is strong, powerful. It's bold. Frankly, it's a ballsy statement. And that is what makes it unique. And so when you talk about that as far as, okay, so I'm doing something different, it's not it's not unique as far as like I said, it's been all female nights have been going on forever. What's different is how you do it and the culture that you're trying to build around it. So that was like amazing feedback from Christina.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in your face. And for lots of reasons.
It is.
So let's dive in a little bit to some other challenges that you face just outside of the branding and the name. But yeah, there's a lot of roadblocks we're up against as women in the industry, and I just want to preface real quick for our listeners. We do recognize that women of other races and ethnic backgrounds do face much larger discrimination in these spaces. And we're also just going to ask that our male listeners truly take this time to listen to like this little bit that's shared and don't challenge it. These are lived experiences that are being shared, and we wouldn't lie to you about what happens on this other side of the coin. So please just, listen and take this as a moment to kind of widen your perspective on just, what people's worlds are like unlike yours. So Tiso, share with us a little bit. What are some of the other challenges that you faced?
Well, I think when I first started this, I was so excited about it, got a bunch of feedback, and I started reaching out to DJs, and then all of a sudden some of them would say, no, I don't want to do it. And they would say, I don't want to be booked because of my gender. Mm-hmm. And this is going to come to a surprise to all of you. I know this is shocking, so stop what you're doing and listen. Everyone, including myself, does not want to be booked because of your gender. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be booked because of your physical appearance. You don't want to be booked because of your sexuality, the color of your skin, whatever it is. You want to be booked because you are talented and you are skilled and you deserve to play. Yeah. And you deserve to be a part of it. So the challenge that I faced was like women would come up to me and say, no, I don't want to be booked because of my gender. And I would be like, well, yes, I'm booking you because of your gender, but, and that's a huge but, that's not the only reason I'm booking you. Yeah. And trying to explain that to someone was a bit challenging for me. Because, again, getting back to, like, Christina Sky, Sandra Collins, Sam Divine is my hero, Nifra, like, all of these women, they're not very well known. But I've met them in person. We had great conversations. They're my heroes. They're inspiring. If I bring them to Minneapolis, potentially, they could connect with another newer or maybe even really young female DJ that needs a role model, that needs a positive influence in their life. And I'm not just going to book anybody. Right. You have to fit the brand. And I think there's some assumptions made there that I'm just going to book anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's not true at all. There's some people on my list that it's not going to happen. So I was like, I'm super sensitive. Even people look at me and they think I'm just like this big toughie. I cry really easily, and I was like, why don't you want to play? But then I realized, I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to work with everybody. And I got over it, but I also learned to like navigate the conversation better.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I talk about that, the more that like my friends talk about it. And, you know, this interview, if people listen to it, they understand like, oh, well, I said I would never work with T, but maybe I will work with T.
Mm.
Because there's always a chance, right? Also, there's a long list of people that want to work with me. So, whatever.
That's
you
when the
know?
opportunity comes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you've made that choice that it's not for you, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But, you know,
And
I'm going to just easily move on to the next one.
I'd like to imagine too that being a part of a all women lineup that is put on by other women would be a much different experience than an all women lineup put up by men. Because I merely just lived experience and knowing what it's like to be on the other side of the coin. Yeah, so I also, you know, see that as kind of a point that is like, this is an event by women, for women, and for everybody, but specifically to give opportunities to those who maybe looked over for opportunities based off of their gender, sexuality, or physical appearance. Which, yeah, is also something that you and I kind of chatted about in our pre-interview as well. Yeah, just about the discrimination from other avenues against also like women that don't fit their picture perfect female DJ, and
Mhm.
that's also not what you're looking for when you're booking your all women lineups, right?
Yeah, I could care less what you look like. I think the only rule is that you're not a bro, right? Even that's I could have called it just no bros in the booth. It would have made my life a lot easier, but you know, here we are. There's a couple of things you mentioned, like the discrimination part, but I'll come back to that. But one thing that you mentioned that kind of like brought back a memory to the point where like men are different than women. And I try to avoid blanket statements or like all inclusive statements, like all men are this way. That's not true. Right. But for the majority of the time, I think male promoters don't maybe think of some of the details. Most of them don't think of the kind of details that I do. So for example, I always ask the women if they have any stalkers or if they've had any situations where they haven't felt safe from fans.
Mm.
Because if they are super attractive,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mainstream attractive, like beauty comes in all different shapes and sorts, but you know what I mean. Like basically like the hot DJs. I ask them, I'm like, is there anything I need to be aware of? And believe it or not, yes. Some of them have stalkers. Some of them have been roofied.
Mm.
And that's the extra time that I was like, I put thought into that. I make sure that like their water bottles are closed, nobody's pre-opened them. Because sometimes, you know, I like to be polite and, you know, take care of them, spoil them rotten while they're here. But some of them don't like that.
Yeah.
Because I was just going to say it. Crap happens, right? I'm trying to not swear, but my mom knows I swear, so whatever. Shit happens.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know if men take into consideration. I also, when I look at the rider, which is their pre-approved list of things that they want, you know, sometimes they want M&Ms, right? Things like that. That's a silly example, but how like some of the DJs that I have are really short. Like we're talking like petite, like 5 feet tall. And there's sometimes the DJ booths are too tall for them.
Mm-hmm.
Do men think of that?
Yeah,
Probably not.
stool.
Probably some of them maybe. Well, you can't DJ on a step stool, right? Because you need space. Well, you need space because you need like the decks are like 6 feet long, something like that, 5, whatever it is. And like you're moving around a lot, you're dancing, you're jumping, you're not going to be on a little step.
I guess you're right.
So I put thought into that too, and I just asked the manager. I was like, "This is going to be a really weird question, but I've never met this DJ before. She's coming in. Is she average height? Would you call her short?" And he's like, average, I guess. And I was like, the reason I'm asking is because the Rev is a tall DJ booth. And I need to be prepared if she needs something to stand on.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like that's just dealing with females, right? Usually you don't have a lot of like, you know, short men. Right. Or they're like, whatever, you know, it's whatever, it's tall, it's fine. But I want the woman to be comfortable. And those are the kind of things that I think about. But it's interesting, like, do you have stalkers, that kind of thing, you know? it's that extra detail that also women appreciate, you know, because if they feel safe and if they have a good time, they're going to remember you. They're going to want to come back. And they maybe even would prefer to have you bring them back over one of your male peers because of the experience that they have.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of made me think about that. Oh, the discrimination conversation. I have been discriminated against for my physical appearance. I can't prove it, but I know it has happened. I was bullied growing up because I was different. So I have dealt with a lot. I have been discriminated against because of my gender, because of my sexuality. Like, you know, when it comes to discrimination, I know all about it. So it really hurt. You know, it really hurts when someone thinks I'm discriminating. And I was like, you really don't know me very well if you think that. You know, I can't remember exactly what you were like getting at, but you know, it's just something around the stereotype of if I looked like Miley Cyrus, would I get booked more? And would No Boys in the Booth be more popular? Yeah, 100%. I would have tons of more followers if I looked like Miley Cyrus. Would I want to? No, I'm me. You know, I am who I am. I've accepted who I am and how I walk and everything about me, right? How I talk, even though I hate my voice. But it's like basically showing people that, you know, having a culture where everyone is accepted. And even though it's all female DJs, I still like to think that I have established a culture that is safe, that is fun, where all are welcome. And discrimination happens in every part of our lives. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's so much judgment in the world. But I hope that when I do my events, I'm trying to make a change in the industry. I'm trying to do a positive for the industry. And I feel like this is kind of like my small piece of the puzzle. And, you know, that's all at the end of the day, that's all I can hope for. Yeah. Right. Is even small impacts are huge impacts. So yeah. That's kind of where that goes.
Yeah. And that leads in real great to, the next thing I really wanted to touch on with you was the importance of this community. In what ways have you seen having No Boys in the Booth and the community around that positively impact people?
Well, I guess for me personally, it's taken me on a journey that I never dreamed in a million years would happen. Like, you know, having a stage on Groove Cruise, having that national and global exposure. I've got a event in Amsterdam, of all places, in October.
What?
Yeah. I'm going to have a No Boys in the Booth party during Amsterdam Dance Week, which is huge.
I got chills.
Yeah. It's amazing. I still have to pinch myself. And I was like, how do I plan a party when I've never been there? I don't know what the venue is. Like, I'm freaking out, but in a good way. So that personally, what I have, you know, experienced, I never take that for granted. I thank my friends and my family all the time because you're only as strong as the people that support you, that surround you. And I would be nothing without the people, you know, my crew. And I'll get into the thank yous later, obviously, but, you know, so it's me personally, that kind of thing. What I guess surprised me is when I get, and it always makes me feel good. But when I get someone that's like, what's No Boys in the Booth? And you explain it to them in like 2 seconds, they're like, F yeah, that's hot. Right. That feeling. Because that one tells you like, there's room for me in this industry. There's a place for me in this industry. And not only that, it's like, it's it's kind of like, and then I'm struggling a little bit, but just it's growing and it's a positive influence in a way that I don't always see. I don't always feel it. It's not obvious to me, but there's a lot happening because of it that I don't know about. Cause like I've had people that come up to me and it's like, you're a huge inspiration. And they're almost like nervous to chat with me. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. How are you? You know, I'm like, I just feel like I've never ever thought of myself as a celebrity. I never will. I've never thought of myself as like this huge, I guess, presence, for lack of a better term, in the scene. But I guess now, after, especially within the last, ever since the pandemic, it's been, I guess, ever since the pandemic was over and we started getting back into the scene, I've noticed it more about people reaching out and just telling me like, love what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. Is there anything I can do? So that's the part where I'm like, I guess it's kind of a big deal, you know? The other side of it was teaching females how to DJ. I never thought about this when I first started it, but as humans, we gravitate to people like us. Like we like to be in packs, we want to be comfortable with people. So it's one of those things where, of course I'll teach some female how to DJ, but they've come to me personally because, they feel more comfortable. Because there's women that there's women out there that want to learn how to DJ, but if they only know male DJs and maybe they're not comfortable being alone with men, maybe if they ask a guy to like, hey, will you teach me how to DJ? He might take it the wrong way. Yeah. Right. Or they don't have the best history with some men. And it's something so I realized I'm like, oh, so I'm actually playing a bigger role where it's like, you're safe with me. I'll teach you how to DJ, right? So I've embraced this role of like being a mentor. And that's not something that I thought would happen, but it's evolved with time. So there's a ton of positive with it. And I'll be honest, there's times I wanted to quit, especially at the beginning where I'm like, dude, no, I don't hate men, really. But then I just focus on the growth and the influence it's had around the world. I always get this little spark. I'm like, oh, somebody bought a tank, they're from Florida or whatever. It's like my brand is slowly but surely going everywhere, and that's awesome. So I guess that's some of the positives that have come from just starting this whole thing, I guess. And one thing I forgot with the challenges, it just popped in my head, and I don't know why this is a thing, but I've talked to several of my promoters, and male events always sell better. It never fails, and it doesn't. Even if the female DJ is really well known, equal level as their male peers, lots of hits, been around for a long time, super popular, they will not sell as many tickets as men. Yeah. And I don't know why that is. I wish I knew. Yeah. But that's another challenge that I didn't know I was signing up for when I started this. I'm like, oh, so can you dig yourself even a bigger hole, T? It's like your goal is just to break even, and also nobody wants to support female DJs. So that's another fascinating thing that I've learned over the years.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That's tough. And yeah, there's like, we could sit here and dive into all our speculations why. We could look at, privilege. We could look, but it's like really you can't pinpoint it, nor can, the same way we talk about discrimination. I can't point exactly, but I know it happened. I can't prove it, but I know it happened. It's that same way. I know it's happening. Those tickets aren't selling. Can't prove why, but it just is. So for anybody interested in helping sell out female DJ shows, TISO's having one on April 14th, which is why we are here chatting today. Yeah.
Well, my thing is like, you've seen that DJ, and not a lot of people are like this. It's like you can go to that same DJ for the 5th time, but they're my favorite. Okay, cool. But you could go and see this female DJ that you might actually really love. She might, and I'm obviously biased, but I think I throw a pretty cool party. So you might have a good time, but
just might.
It's something about, well, all my friends are going to be there. So I don't care. There's a level of people out there that go to events. They don't even know who the DJ is, but the leader of the group is like, this is where we're going tonight. And they're like, okay, cool. So it's like, if you don't care to research the DJ, or you don't care about, expanding your music taste for any reason, it doesn't matter their gender. It's like, you got to get the leader of the group to like the DJ, and then like 25 people will follow.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it comes down to exposure as well. They've already been exposed through whatever means, through that other artist. And yeah, people do want what's easy.
Yeah.
Except for you, Tiso.
The second it gets easier, I'll let you know. Yeah, I mean, it's easier than it was before. But yeah, I guess I'm challenge after challenge for some reason. And I've been through a lot. Like I mentioned, I was bullied when I was younger. My dad passed away back in 2010. Like, I've been through some crap. I've been through some stuff. I've lost like over 100 pounds. Like I've been on, my journey has been like a roller coaster ride. But I still think for some reason selling No Boys in the Booth is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And it's never going to stop. That's the thing. There's no off switch with this.
Oh. So you had mentioned Groove Cruise a little bit before. And I personally had never heard of Groove Cruise until I started following No Boys in the Booth. But that seems like to be a platform that was not only monumental in your desire to move forward with music, but also has been a fairly large supporter of No Boys in the Booth. What's that relationship like?
Yeah, so my first Groove Cruise was January 2017, and I had heard about it through my neighbor of all people, and I was like, this sounds like fun, right? I'd been to camping festivals. I'd been to like EDC, which is a hotel festival. Right? You go to day festivals, you're in and out or whatever. Small festivals, big festivals, whatever. This is a festival on a cruise ship. So you show your ID one time, and there's 9 stages, and the music goes 96 hours. It never stops. There's 24/7 food. So you can go get chicken strips anytime. You can choose to get the drink package if you want to, if you don't want to, whatever, but it is just so easy. You get on the ship and you can, like, I'm telling you, there's sunrises and sunsets, but there's nothing that beats the sunrise on Groove Cruise over the ocean. Like, so this is my sales pitch. So I started out as just a fan of Groove Cruise. And then I was like, it'd be cool. I'm very much organic and grassroots. I'm not really good at sales. So I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm going to totally DJ Groove Cruise someday. I wasn't that person. I was just like, oh, it'd be cool to like do the silent disco. Well, I did that a couple years. And then I started what they call, it's like commission based. So you push your No Boys in the Booth code. You get people to use your code. The more people you get to book, the more you're like, you might get 2 sets, you might get 3 sets. Eventually, if you get enough people to use your code, you get a No Boys in the Booth stage. And that, my first one was January 2021, right? 2022. And I had a ton of momentum coming out of like 2020, but again, pandemic happened and we took a little bit of break. But the good thing is I got that momentum back, and I had about like 60 people in my crew that got on the cruise ship. And then the Minnesota Groove Cruise family, because I have another peer of mine that also is what they call an ambassador, which basically is you're trying to be an ambassador artist. But yeah, I mean, it gives opportunities to people that maybe aren't mainstream producers, and it gives you a chance to showcase your brand, showcase your talent. And thankfully, I have my No Boys in the Booth crew that's been incredibly supportive, and there's a cat on my lap right now, so if I get a little weird in chatting, it's okay because everyone's welcome, including kitty cats.
Everybody say hi to Buzz Kitty.
Buzz Kitty is here. Chunky Cat. All right. And Lucky Kitty is not going to be happy with me. So started out silent disco, worked myself into affiliate, got this stage. I had my second stage this past year, and then I've got another stage in January. January is kind of the big year because it goes out of Miami, and we're at Lake C for a couple days. Then we stop at an island. We set up a stage on the island, and then we have a beach party, and then we go back to sea for a couple days. And I've seen Cascade on the beach. I've seen Above and Beyond on the beach.
Oh my gosh.
Cora and I, Saxels has played the beach. We got to do that this past January. We also got to play the main pool when we went to Cabo. And it's like, it's one of those things where I tell people, I'm like, I think you would really like Groove Cruise. You know, I get them on the ship. And they think they're going to see me a lot. But you have to remember, when you're 24/7, everyone's on different sleep schedules.
Yeah.
Everybody's like eating at a different time. And this person wants to go here at this, whatever. You're just all over the place, right? So I said, at some point, I'm going to run into you. And it might be a day later. And I'm going to ask you, how is it going? And I have 100% return rate on this. I see my friend, and they're so excited to see me because they feel like they haven't seen me forever, but it's only really been like probably 24 hours. I'm like, probably run into them on the pool deck, and I'm like, how are you doing? And they're all like, this is the best time of my life. The people are amazing. That is what makes Groove Cruise Groove Cruise. It's a bunch of like-minded people. I will argue that house music, trance, and techno, like those genres, attract the best people and best personalities, but I'm biased. But how can you not be happy when you're listening to house music? It's so bouncy. Like, come on, it's great. And that's what Groove Cruise is. That's like, and then they've expanded recently to like melodic dubstep, and they're doing some other like fun things with music. There's also like bingo, or they just started.
Bingo?
Yeah, there's
I love
bingo.
bingo.
Yeah,
Let's go, Joe.
There's bingo. There's they have a drag race. I love RuPaul's Drag Race. They had a drag show this past year. They've toyed with the idea of having burlesque. They have meetups, like they have, they don't call it singles meetups anymore, but they just have like connection where like, if you don't know a lot of people, some people fly solo, right? And they're just like, okay, you just do a quick little meetup. And it's so easy to make friends. I have friends from all over the world because of Groove Cruise. And that's what, like, it's like the music usually, or someone like me usually gets you on Groove Cruise the first time, but what keeps you going is that culture, that experience, that, it's like, there's people like, we call it blind faith mafia, where basically you put $200 down and you're in. You could care less who's going to be on the lineup because you're going to have a great time. Which is good for me because when my friends do that and they use my code, I'm like, sweet. And then the other side of that is Jason Bukima is the CEO. And imagine being the CEO of this, it's a small company, but it's a huge festival. And he has my cell phone number. Like, I don't have Pascal's number from EDC. It's very much a family atmosphere. And they have a celebration of life. And hopefully I don't get emotional, but we just lost a GC fam member this past Sunday to suicide. I think he was in the military too, so it was one of those deals. There's a celebration of life because I will have my ashes spread on Groove Cruise. I'm just telling you right now. Like, it's changed my life, and that's my plan if anything ever happens to me. And there's so many people like that. There's also the positive side of it where there's people that met on Groove Cruise in 2022. They got engaged this past January, and most likely they're going to get married in 2024 on Groove Cruise. So it's one of those things where it's not for everybody. But if we can get you on the ship, there's a good chance that you're going to want to hang out with us again and have a good time So it's the other side of it was like the people that I guess book or in charge of the ambassadors. Like there's a bunch of people trying to hustle and like get stages and things like that. You know, they have told me they love No Boys in the Booth. They love it. And again, going back to my history of not everybody loves it, it was really amazing when they said, you know, I was pushing, you know, I got really close to the number that you need to have a stage, and I didn't quite get there, and they gave it to me anyway.
Oh.
So that's the kind of thing that, you know, that's where you get that, like, your hard work is paying off. You feel like you're part of a family. And once you're GC fam, good luck getting rid of us. Like you know, you meet people from all over the world, you know, and I know that there's a lot of different groups or, you know, other festivals or stuff. As soon as you see, I'm just going to make fun of the Millennium like jerseys, right? That's
A-okay on this
so
show.
It's so culty. Sorry.
Don't apologize.
No, I mean, honestly, good for him. Like he makes good music and people love him. What do they call them? Sad boys. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I make it. I'm like a smart aleck, but I actually like appreciate talent, and the guy's got skills. So it is what it is. But it's like if you see someone in a Millennium jersey, oh my God, they're gonna talk about Millennium for the next like probably 15 minutes. Anyway, it's fine. I'm just joking, of course.
Maybe Jenna and I should hit up Groove Cruise. Will Grizz be there?
Grizz. The lineup comes out next week. Grizz, no. Do you like Seven Lions? Like, there's the Ophelia record label with his partners, Jem and Tori. Do you know that whole...
Oh, that's not our deep dive. Yeah. Jenna's deep dive is Grizz.
Oh,
all day,
just Grizz.
Every day.
Grizz. Well, you
I
might
have a personality and it's Grizz.
Well, you might hear Grizz on Friday, so April 14th. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I should know. I'm the DJ, but
this is Jenna making her request.
Right? Yeah, Grizz. I don't know, but I mean.
Yeah, it sounds like you said you've seen Cascade, Above and Beyond.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty prominent names.
Yeah, John Summit.
Yeah.
So my predictions for the lineup next week are John Summit, Tiesto for sure, Purple Disco Machine, which is one of my favorites, and actually Diplo, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Forget I said that. But we'll see. It could be 100% wrong. They've been teasing the lineup, and I know I'm going to be on it. There's going to be a No Boys in the Booth stage. Yes. The other thing that's been really rewarding that, again, I never, like, dreamed, you know, was like, oh, this is my goal, is it's kind of a badge of honor to play the party. And I have so many people interested, and it's hard to, like, take care of everyone. But one thing that I've got to do that I'm really proud of is back in my first party for 2022, I had one local female Minneapolis DJ that was on the ship and got to play my party. And then this last year, I had 3 locals that got to play my party. So it's not only like the ones that, you know, that support me, but there is reward. I try to not just make it all about me. That's not ever my goal, is to make it about me. I want to share the love as much as I can. I always feel bad because I only have so many like slots. Yeah. And when I bring a headliner, the headliner plays, and then there's one more hour, and it's always like, who do I give this to? And it's so hard. I want to take care of everybody. But that's something that's been really cool, is to give Minneapolis more of a presence as well on a huge festival. And, you know, I wouldn't do that for just anybody, again. But these particular DJs, Anidra, Devin Key, and Ali D, they work really hard and they're supportive of me. So it was really cool that they got a chance to play Groove Cruise as well. And, you know, then there's some women from like LA that reached out. I said, I already know. I've heard of No Boys in the Booth. I've been on Groove Cruise before. I really want to play your party. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's stuff that I'm like, you know, back in the day, it was kind of hard to find people to play or like the good fit for that particular genre. But now there's like, the list is pretty long and I actually break some hearts when I set the lineup. I'm sorry, I don't have room for you. But anyway, it's a blessing. It's not a curse or anything.
Yeah, it's exciting just to, the more you've mentioned how far this spreads, I think it really shows that need for community and that need for, people to feel seen.
Yeah, I think, well, it's a huge festival and I think one year there was kind of an all-female lineup, but it wasn't as, that's the word, like, they just weren't as dedicated as I am. I have a lot of money invested in Groove Cruise. I have a lot of time and effort, like the blood, sweat, and tears because I haven't missed one. It'll be my 11th one in January. And the only reason it's not like 13 is because of the pandemic and they couldn't have it. But I haven't missed one since January 2017. Like the hooks are in and I'm not going anywhere. So that dedication puts me above, others. And maybe there'll be another, female DJ that wants to do something similar than me, like an ambassador. And I'm fine with that. Like the more the merrier. Mm-hmm. But that I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And the really cool thing that is coming, I mentioned Amsterdam, which was amazing. But I've always thought it would be cool to have like regional directors. So, if a female DJ is like, well, I want to do a No Boys in the Booth like West Coast, or I want to do a No Boys in the Booth in New York City, like we can make that happen. Through my years, I've built relationships with certain people, which I basically would trust them with the keys to the kingdom because I don't have to be at every No Boys in the Booth event, but it would be really, really amazing if it was like, a traveling show like EDC. You have EDC Mexico, you have EDC like Japan or Thailand or whatever it is. Yeah. And then you have EDC Vegas and then you have EDC Orlando. Well, if there's someone that's in a certain city that's like, I want to do No Boys in the Booth in Denver, or I want to do No Boys in the Booth in Tampa, as long as we have a good trusting relationship, I am open to that. Like, let's make that happen.
Yes.
And I think that's hopefully the next wave of where I think I'm getting closer to that. I've had some good talks lately with people that want to do that. So the sky's the limit as far as, how big the brand goes, as long as there's people that want to be involved, because I can't do everything.
No.
I have a day job that pays my bills. I think that's another thing that people don't know is like music doesn't pay the bills for me. And it does. Being an artist, we all know, right? It's our passion, and the money is hard to come by sometimes. But I have my day job. Sometimes I work 40 hours a week. Sometimes I work 70 hours a week, and there's not a lot of time for music. So I think, and I'm a person that loves to sleep. Like I'm really good at sleeping. So it's kind of like, I think some of these goals and things that I've accomplished, it maybe would have happened faster if I only needed 2 hours of sleep.
I feel that sentiment deeply, so deeply.
Come on, I have a cat. If she wants to cuddle, it's fine. But these additional opportunities where I'm, asking for help, there's people that want to be involved. I'm ready for it. Sky's the limit. I just can't do everything. That's pretty much the point of that. Yeah. So, and I'm trying to I'm stubborn and I hate asking for help. There's also a level of if there's a mistake, it's on me. It's not on the person that's helping me.
Yep.
There's also I forgot what I was going to say, but it's fine. I hope to build like a team. I would I remember what I was going to say. I always feel bad when, I'm barely breaking even, so I don't have money to have employees. You know what I mean? But I would like to have you know, a merch person that is in charge of the website and is picking out merch and doing that kind of things. And then, you know, actually paying them for their time. And then as we grow and we get bigger, I am going to be the first person that takes care of you, right? So it's kind of having that, getting to that point as well. I hope that I can have like a VP or whatever title you want. I like interns out there. Anybody interested in working with me, just feel free to reach out. So
Yeah. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
my number is honestly, I'm pretty Facebook Messenger or Instagram. I'm pretty good about checking all the socials. So that's fine.
Yeah. Let that be heard to our listeners if they're looking to get involved on another level. You know, here's an opportunity.
Yeah, or if you know anyone.
Yeah,
that might be interested. And even if it's like, hey, I just want to help for this one, that's cool. We'll figure it out. If you want to learn how to promote, if you want to learn how to DJ, if you want to know more about the Minneapolis scene, if you want to learn more about Groove Cruise, I'm busy, and I know, but I'm always willing to help. Have a lot of mentees, and kind of a badge of honor to be like looked up to in that way, and as well as, you know, be an inspiration. So yeah,
I think that's a great segue into our next section. Why don't we play a song, and then we'll dive into Friends of Tiso. We can kind of talk about some of the people that, you know, have been involved with No Boys in the Booth and projects that you're excited about. And let's give away those tickets. Maybe while we play the song,
are there going to be questions too? Because I don't know if people have any questions for me.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think we did have one question on the sizing of the shirts. That was one I saw. Do these run pretty typical, smaller, larger?
Yeah. There'll be a merch booth at the event, but depending on what you're looking for. The most popular items are the tank tops, which these fine ladies have. Those run normal. Like if you're a small women's tank, you're going to be a small in this tank. They're kind of like the razor back cut, so they're a little bit flared out in the hip. I don't know. I don't wear them. They're not my style, but my friends have told me that they like them. The other popular item is it's almost like a long sleeve shirt with a hood. It's a very like thin hooded sweatshirt, and it's just not thick. Like it's a real lightweight, and it's nice for now I'm not someone that gets cold very easily, but what I've been told is like even in the summer it's nice to like, it's light, you can throw it on. Some people are more comfortable in a hoodie, right, regardless of what season it is. Those fit normal as well. So if you're like a small, they've got it's really long sleeves too, so like women like to pull the sleeves down. The merch online, so I have Shopify, which I'm connected to. Most of like the size charts and stuff are on there, noboysinbooth.com, but if it's nbitb.com, by the way. If you have any questions about that, feel free to message me. I'm glad to help. There are some pictures of some friends on Facebook that are in the merch, and I try to say like, this woman saying like wearing a size small, medium. So there's a couple different ways to like check out the merch, but hopefully that was helpful.
We have a question on how do you feel about naps?
I am not good at naps. I like naps, but my mind's usually racing. And I have to be exhausted. Just exhausted. And usually if I'm that tired, I'm sleeping like, I'm just going to bed. Like I'll sleep 12 hours. So
I feel very similar.
Yeah, I do a seasonal depression too. And the one thing that helps me the most is sleep. Like I just shut it down. And even though I have a million things to do, and I really, really wish I could get them done, I try to do the bare minimum because I'm like, I always feel bad for Cora because I'm trying to work on our set so I can give it to her in advance so she knows what songs we're going to play. And then I'm like, Cora, I went to bed. I'm sorry. She's used to me though, so she's very patient with her DJ. So yeah, that was a long way of saying I wish I could nap.
Well, let's do this. We're gonna be giving away the 2 tickets individually. So we'll have 2 winners. Each person can have one ticket. Why don't our listeners who want to enter head over to Facebook, RSVP to the No Boys in the Booth event on Facebook. Snap a screenshot and drop in the Discord chat. And the first 2 people to show us that they've RSVP'd to the event will each get a ticket to go to the show. And we are going to play another song while y'all do that. And we'll be able to announce the winner after that track plays. And then we'll use this last little bit of time here with TISO to talk about different musicians and projects that they are looking forward to. Let's see what this next song we have is. So this is a song by 22 Weeks, the collaborator with TISO on the last 2 tracks. This is their song Goo Goo Eyes.
It's his track.
It's his
just track.
Yeah,
his
just
track.
his.
So yeah, he's from Belgium. He's an amazing dude. He's got a heart of gold. Anyway, I wanted to give him some love, and this is one of his songs that I think has like, it's pretty popular on Spotify. I mean, it has like 10,000 plus listens. So give it a go.
Okay, we have our winners. Congratulations to both J-Buck and Rainbow. They're the first 2 people to screenshot on Facebook and put in the Discord chat that they're attending. So we'll see y'all on the 14th of April at Union Rooftop. For those who didn't win tickets or are listening to the recording of this episode, you can go ahead and secure tickets. We'll drop the link in our Discord. You can also go find the event on Facebook or also on TISO's social medias. Yay! And I'm just going to go ahead and announce this since we're on the topic of giveaways. We will be giving away 2 tickets next week to Low and High's show on April 22nd at the Poor House. It's the submission takeover with Enigma Dubs, Chef Boyard Beats, and Medicine Place, and there's one more artist, and my brain is slipping. But we'll be giving away 2 tickets to that next week. So if you didn't get any of this week, you have another chance next week. Jump in the Discord. This is your warning. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into our Friends of TISO section. TISO, what are some events coming up that you're looking forward to?
Outside of my birthday, I guess.
It's really hard to see past.
Yeah, I'm announcing another event. So I just signed a contract. So I'm bringing in another headliner this summer. So I'll announce that at my birthday. We hope to have another kind of Groove Cruise reunion weekend this summer here in Minneapolis. So I don't have dates for this stuff yet, but I'm definitely excited about that. Cora and I hopefully we get to play Art Whirl, which has been a bucket list item for us. So in Northeast, right, Art Whirl. I actually don't know the name of the venue, but it'll be on my socials. And I think for that, we're probably going to play a little bit of everything from Alinea to 70s and 80s and, whatever. It could be one of those super, super fun days where we play a little bit of everything on a hopefully beautiful May in Northeast Minneapolis.
I've never attended Art Whirl, but I've heard so many cool things about it. I think we definitely need to be the year for it.
Yeah, it's 2 of my favorite things, music and art. Every brewery, it feels like there's something going on at every single building in like Northeast. There's so much energy. People are just walking around with their dogs and it feels like a real spread out festival. But I've always liked Art Whirl, and we have those like bucket list kind of, not, I don't want to say, well, two things. Like we kind of have like bucket list events. Like we'd really want to play the Saloon Block Party, so that's another thing that we are trying to do. We'll see. I gotta get a little bit more work into that one. Or like Art of World is like a super fun event that we've always wanted to play. Or playing the beach, right? Or venue. I've been lucky. I got to play First Ave one time, which is iconic. So yeah, it's more around, we're very, it's always fun. It's like adding to your resume, right? I got to do this, and it just never gets old when you get those new experiences.
No. So what are some other artists that either you mentor or you just see kind of doing big things in the area?
Oh, wow. Trying to think. Well, Devin Key, she's a good friend of mine, started DJing 2018, started producing in 2020. I think we're going to play one of her songs here pretty soon. I think she's one of the best DJs in Minneapolis. She's got a really great ear for melody and mixing melody, which I gravitate to like bass house and more of the, grimy, rumbly stuff. So we're complete opposites in that way. But yeah, she's definitely one of those people that I think could go big places. I have a lot of friends that kind of are definitely at their beginning of their career for producing. But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody that's like, a lot of people, they start producing and they move away, to be honest.
Go to Denver.
Yeah, Denver,
LA.
Florida, California, they just go to bigger cities where there's more opportunity, and that's fair, right? We are a small city with a big time attitude. And yeah, I'm always happy for them when they make the move. I can touch on like Rafi. So Rafi is the one I produced with. He's from Belgium. We randomly met at Miami Music Week. I didn't tell this story, did I?
No.
I feel like I'm on repeat right now. We randomly met back in 2018 at Miami Music Week, which is right around Ultra time, like that Ultra Music Festival. Sorry, I got somebody. Stop texting me.
I'm on a radio show.
Exactly. These people are texting me know that I'm on the radio right now. They literally want a shout out. I know what's happening. I'm not even gonna read the text message. So Rafi randomly met, instantly became a brother from another mother. We always joke about being like brother and sister because we actually fight like brother and sister sometimes when we're producing. He started hanging out with us, and then he flew into Minneapolis, and we started producing together. He's amazing. He's been producing for like 15 years. And what I tell people is like, yes, he has way more producing experience than me. But what I've told people is that when you collaborate with people, the whole point of that is you are forcing yourself kind of into like out of your comfort zone in a way. And that's what we do with each other. It's like he gravitates to certain sounds and, the way a track should be, and I do the same. And there's always, unfortunately, as DJs and producers, sometimes we just critique each other and judge each other so much. And I know for a fact there's going to be people that are like, oh, well, Tiso didn't actually make the track. Rafi did. And that's not true. When you collaborate with someone, it doesn't matter like how much experience one person has versus the other one. He would not have made these songs without me. I would not have made those songs, same exact songs, without him. So it's 100% my track. It's 100% his track. But more importantly, it's 100% our track. And it doesn't matter how many hours he spent on it versus me or, whatever. It's really, really like, it's our track. And that's really what counts. And we're trying to get him to America. He loves Minnesota. I know, I can't believe it, right? he doesn't mind the winters. It doesn't even get that cold. Plus, he like measures things in Celsius. So I'm like, I don't even know if that's cold, dude. Like, I really don't know. The track I played earlier, if you heard us, it was like us fake fighting in the song. You'll hear it again at my birthday. But we laughed so hard when we were making that song because it was just a stupid fight, but we turned it into a track. So that's really what it's about. The other song that I'm going to play that we just made last week, I'm so excited about it. It's honestly, I'm more excited about that one song than I have been than all the other ones put together. So I hope that you guys like it. I'll see. You only get to play it once and get that real raw reaction. You only get to do that one time. But if I see my DJ friends trying to Shazam it or whatever, then I know I'm doing something right.
Yes.
So yeah, I owe a lot to Rafi. And I think, not a lot of people know this, but he was taking a break from producing because he was getting frustrated. Like he had done it for a while and he wasn't really getting anywhere. But then when he met me, it kind of, I inspired him as well to get back into it. So we've helped each other in similar ways. Yeah.
Definitely an exchange of energy. It's not about much more than that. Well, why don't we play the song by Devin? You want to do that? Our song by Devin Key. This is Liquid Dreams. This is one of the artists that Tiso had just mentioned here in this last section. And we'll play out this song for you. Then we'll answer a few more questions that have popped up in the chat. And then we will close on another Tiso and 22 Weeks song. Hit it. Okay, that was Liquid Dreams by Devin Key. For those of you who want to look them up, that's spelled Devyn. And then Key, Key. So, we have a few questions from folks that they dropped in the chat for Tiso. We're going to answer these real quick before she gets into the thank yous. But one of our listeners asked, what is some of the dumbest shit you've heard someone say to you in regards to your music or event career?
You mean outside of the fact that they told me I wasn't plur because I hate men? Because that's by far the first one that pops in my head. I think, I don't know if there's like dumb, but sometimes just I hate house music. And I'll be honest, I'm one of these people that said I used to hate dubstep. I don't hate dubstep. I like all genres, what I found, and I appreciate talent, right? So one of the things that bothers me is when someone just eliminates a whole genre. And I'm like, do you really understand like house music? Do you really understand trance? Do you understand psytrance? Do you know, it's kind of like, so that to me is, I can probably, if I took some time, I could probably think of some really like, what are you on right now kind of question, but, funny, but that's one thing. It's like, why would you just eliminate, music's beautiful, why would you just eliminate an entire genre, and just not even give it a chance? Because one of the biggest compliments I've ever got was when people were like, I didn't like house music until I heard you play. And you can't make that up, right? That's awesome. And I'm like, well, welcome
Welcome
to the happy, bouncy, somewhat older house music crowd. Like, we're pretty fun. But I don't hate dubstep. I just hate some of it. It's got to sound like music. But I appreciate, I do appreciate producers and their talent and what they can do. And it's not easy to write vocals. It's really, really hard to do. So if you're a producer that writes really good vocals, then I appreciate that, regardless of what genre it is.
Oh. So our next question we had was, any suggestions on how to discuss discrimination in the business without popping off? Asking for myself.
When you say business, do you mean like your office setting?
I feel like they're alluding to like just the music industry.
Sure.
Being a professional in this space, especially like as a minority.
Well, I can't say that I am perfect. I definitely have a temper, and I'm saying this because if you're passionate about something and somebody strikes a nerve, it's like it's like, what? You just want to slap them and be like, you're a freaking idiot, right? That's kind of what you're feeling on the inside. Take a deep breath. And I heard this one saying, I'm like, there's ignorant and stupid. And the good thing about being ignorant is you can be taught, or you can learn not to be ignorant. And if you're stupid, you're just stupid. There's probably no hope for you. So hopefully in the conversations that you're having with these people, if it comes up, you give them a chance. Because I'll be honest, like, I was naive and stupid back in the day. I've said some things that I am not proud of because it was assumptions that I made because I was from a small town. I'll be honest, like, I wasn't raised around people with a lot of different, like, I wasn't raised around brown people. Like, I come from white country. And, it's like, saying things or whatever. And I'm not saying like I did something like that dumb, like, but it was one of those things where it's like, educating yourself. And when you have to understand that regardless of what they're saying, you can't assume that they know better, right? So sometimes you have to be patient and teach those people. And if they're willing to learn, that means they're just ignorant or naive and they don't know any better. Yeah. But if you can be patient with them, you can explain that, hey, that's not okay because of this. Or have you ever thought about this perspective? But if they're stupid, they're stupid. And don't waste your time on them.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to, kind of explain that all battles are worth fighting and not all conversations are worth having. It's I know when I've been passionate about things, there's been times I wanted to, any and everybody who did not know what was up, I wanted to tell them. And really, that wasn't good for my own mental health. Granted, I got my points down really strong, and you should not argue with me on a couple things. But, not all those battles were worth having. So, yeah, you're totally right. That differentiation between stupid and, oh my gosh, what did you just say? What's the word?
Ignorant.
Thank you. Yeah. I was going to say idiotic, and I was like, that's
same thing.
The same thing, yeah. But yeah, really being able to differentiate. I love that advice.
And a perfect example is I had a friend that the word gay has evolved with time, right? It used to be gay is happy. Now gay, obviously, is a sexual identity. And now gay is like, that's so gay, literally you're being an idiot, right? Or just use it like, stop being stupid, whatever. And I was like, I get it, and every once in a while I snap back and say, what's wrong with being gay? And they think about it. They're like, well, I don't mean it that way, right? And I'm like, well, just,
do you?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be sad if you used another word, but there's bigger fires to fight, right? But I had one friend that he, for some reason, that's so gay, stop being gay. Like he overused it in my opinion. And I finally just like asked him about it. And he's like, he just claimed that he didn't know that it could offend people. He just had no idea. And I'm like, well, I'm just letting you know that, it's not my favorite and I'm not going to treat you differently, but it's not my favorite when you say everything's gay or if you accuse a guy of being gay.
Yeah. That's
an insult to a guy. Mm-hmm. So imagine if your sexual identity, like if it was like, stop being so freaking lesbian, right? And it, it's like an insult.
Yeah.
Right? You should have some more sensitivity to that. So that's just one of those things. A lot of times it's education. It is. And it's patience. So good luck with that. And then you just go home and complain to your cat and say how they're an idiot. But, hopefully you can take on those challenges one at a time. But it's an art to it. Communication is an art. And what people forget is that communication is not just talking. It's being a good listener And more than that, it's understanding what the person's saying. You can't just talk. If you want to be a good communicator, you have to listen. You have to understand. You have to clarify. So, it's when you're educating people, especially around discrimination, you really have to take all of that into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Yes, preach. Well, yeah, I think that's it for
Thank yous. Can I do thank yous?
Questions from our chat. But yeah, but not it for us.
Sorry.
No, yeah, Tiso, share some of your thank yous with us. We know a lot of this would not be possible on your own. And it takes a team, it takes a community.
Yeah, I wanted to thank my mom, my brother, and my mom's boyfriend Denny, and all my extended family down in Southwest Minnesota and I guess across the country. They don't really get the music. They're 2.5 hours away, but they have support from afar, and I appreciate that. I already mentioned Cora. She puts the sax in sax cells, and let's face it, if there's no sax, it's just Tiso. So we've been on a heck of a journey. I appreciate her so much. Rafi, I don't need to talk about Rafi anymore. He's amazing. I mentioned Jack Trash. Appreciate all of what he does. Jay Tappy, Strange Love, he's helped me with like another promoter that helped me with like rooftop parties on 7 during Pride back in the day. It was a dream come true to do a Pride party, and he's always been a huge supporter of Saxels. Chris Blackburn is another guy that he's been in my life since day one, and we've worked together. We've been on this like crazy Groove Cruise journey together as well. And then Jen Blackburn for always being there and supporting. Leo from Dance Agenda, we kind of started back in the day, kind of started in 2017, and we still work together every once in a while, so I appreciate your help and support over the years. Jerry and Jenny for helping with ticket sales. It's literally the worst job. No one else wants to do it, but you guys have always have a smile and help me out. Kim and Colleen, my amazing merch people and my really, really good friends, they have brought the merch booth to another level. Like there's mannequins, there's glow in the dark stuff. It just keeps getting better. And my merch sales went up by like 300% when those two took over. It was crazy. Like I was like, did you really sell this much merch? Like I usually sell a couple of t-shirts, but I'm like, we're in the double figures here. We're in the triple figures. And of course, Fish, my friend Fish back in the day, she used to help merch as well. Mark O'Connell and John Becker, really good friends of mine that help with behind the scenes stuff. Cora's partner, Dalen, she is the queen of videos and reels and photos, and she enjoys doing it. And she has always been a huge part of the journey lately because she does all the things I don't want to do. She takes all the pictures, and she's really good at it. Cora's ginormous family. Okay. My family's small, Cora's family is big, and whenever they come and support us, it's fantastic. So I want to give her family a shout out. Mm-hmm. All of my Minnesota Groove Cruise family, the lineup comes out next week. I would not be where I am today without you guys. I can't list all of you because this show would last another hour. Plus, I would forget people. But you know who you are. I love you, and I always try to thank you in person, give you hugs, do the thing. So just thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. If you've been there, to my Minneapolis music family, if you've been there one time, if you bought one merch, if you shared the event, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all appreciated. And again, I wouldn't be here without you. Finally, to all my fellow female DJs, promoters, producers, whatever those words are, thank you. Keep rocking it. And just remember, our presence is bigger when we work together. So let's keep fighting the good fight.
Yes. Thank you, Tiso. Thank you for joining us tonight. And thanks for, reaching out and wanting to work together too. To let our listeners know, the Perfect Harmony team will be at the event. We're going to be setting up a booth in the back and be doing interviews with artists and attendees and just talking about the importance of community and the importance of this collective over the past 6 years to folks. So be sure to come find us there. We'll have some stickers for you. We'll probably be near the No Boys in the Booth merch booth. So you can go ahead and find a Tanker shirt that works for you. And on that note, we're gonna end the episode on a song by Tiso that I think it sounds like you're probably the most excited for this one. He has some good lyrics with it. But before we go into that song, just a reminder that next week we will be covering Low and High Submission Takeover at the Poorhouse. The guest is still to be announced, but we will be giving away 2 tickets. You'll have to stay tuned to our social media to find out who we'll be interviewing. And the following week, we are going to have Jasmine and Steven of IntelliFunk on to discuss their 25-year celebration and their music festival over the summer, The Great Beyond. I'm really excited. You know, Jenna and I and Brittany are more bass heads, but we've really been kind of expanding
Woo! Yeah!
our taste in music, but also
There's more than just Grizz.
Careful.
Okay, now there's fighting words. It's a good thing I saved that till the end.
So we'll be having them on to discuss, promoting shows for 25 years, which is just phenomenal. So we have some, 2 really great shows coming up over these next 2 weeks. If you want to say thank you to Fuzz Talk Radio for hosting us, you can go ahead and go to fuzztalkradio.com and buy Fuzz a coffee or purchase some of his merch. He's our phenomenal host. And we're just so thankful for him to have us on and stand by us through every up and down. Fuzz has always stood by our side. And then also, just a reminder, we are taking donations to This Is Perfect Harmony. Make a donation on our webpage of $5 or more, and we'll reach out to you. And you can give us a shout out that you want read on the radio show next week. So if you want to just wish someone a happy birthday, promote your own project or your art, go ahead and throw a donation to our PayPal, and we will do that shout out. I think that's all we got. So, Tiso, why don't you tell us a little bit about this final song we're going to be ending on?
Is this Lucky Kitty?
It is Lucky Kitty.
Yeah. Rafi and I were working on a track, and we were getting stuck on the vocals. And I'd been sitting at my computer for too long. And any cat owner knows that when it's too long, your cat is going to let you know. So she hopped up on my lap, and I had to bribe her with treats. And the next thing you know, these lyrics popped in my head, and we were laughing because Lucky Kitty loves ice cream and she loves treats. And then, just hear the song and just know that it was inspired by my cat, and her name is Lucky Kitty.
All right, let's give Lucky Kitty a play, and we will go back to your regular programming after this. Thank you so much, everybody who is listened, joined the Discord chat, entered our contest, and shows up to these events. You're why we do this.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Tiso.
Searching for some sweet.